Welcome to Impacting Recovery Uncensored. I'm your host, Sarah Pritchard. This is a podcast where we dive deep into the real, uncensored truths about addiction, recovery, and everything in between. No sugarcoating, no judgment, just honest conversations that can help lift up the solution. So let's get started. Today, I'm very excited because we have my special friend, Molly Millard. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. And you do office investment sales.
That's right.
We had a really hard time getting that title down for me.
Yeah, no, that was perfect.
Yes. Well, good. Well, I'm so glad that you're here. We're in a new studio for those that watch in Alpharetta, Georgia, or Milton, Georgia. And Molly lives in the Atlanta area.
Yeah, not too far. I'm in Roswell.
Yeah.
So I'm very close.
Yeah. And so I have been saying for a while that I wanted to get you on and share your story. And so I think it's going to help a lot of people. And I was trying to think, like, when we first met.
Yeah.
Because you recently just celebrated 10 years sobriety.
I did.
That's amazing.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, last week.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so incredible.
It's very surreal.
Yeah. And I remember meeting you when we were both very early on.
Yeah. In 2016, 2017.
Yeah, around then. And I ended up relapsing. You didn't.
Hey, you're back now.
Yes, made it back. But I was just trying to think, like, when we met, but I can't really remember.
I think it was when our meeting was at Peachtree Press.
Yeah.
Back in, it was probably right around like 9 or 10 years ago now.
Yeah. So before recovery and sobriety entered the picture, tell us a little bit about like what your life looked like before the drink or the drug, and maybe externally and internally, like what you liked, what you were doing, interests, and then kind of how you felt on the inside. You share a little on that?
Yeah. I'm not actually from Atlanta. I'm from Northern Virginia, right outside of DC. And I grew up in a really loving, happy household. I have 3 older sisters. Everything I remember about my childhood is largely really positive.
Yeah.
I just had I have an amazing dad. My mom was amazing. She ended up battling breast cancer for a long time, and most of my kind of young childhood, and then it came back fast and furious when I was around 10 years old. And I think around that time, you don't really have capacity to kind of understand what sickness is, what, that somebody could die. I mean, I had no experience with anyone passing away. Certainly not someone close to me. So I think that's when kind of all of our worlds turned upside down, was right around that time. And I knew something was not right when I saw my mom crying.
Yeah.
As they were kind of delivering some bad news to us girls that, that mom was really sick. And she's the toughest lady I've ever known. So, gosh, it's like hard to remember, or hard to think back to then. But and it was around 2 years later. I was 12. She did end up passing away. And then my dad stepped into this kind of dual role of, both parents in one. But I really started us off on a somber note.
That's okay. It shares on, probably a lot of what happened after that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually have this memory of, and this will tie into kind of maybe what was happening internally, but I have this memory of when my mom was a teacher at the school we all went to. And when the guidance counselor came and got me from the cafeteria to bring me to the principal's office, it's like, I think I knew on some level what the news was about to be. And, my sisters were there, my dad, and, he told me, and we were all obviously really upset. And then I remember something to the effect of I want to go tell my classmates that I'm okay. Which, and I remember, because again, she was a 6th grade teacher and I was in 6th grade. So it was everybody loved Sherry Millard. So I remember going around to, my classroom and the others and walking in and just telling all my classmates, like, it's going to be okay. And my whole life, and then even after this moment, I had always been, and I think my family would agree, I'd always been like, I'm the youngest. I was the happy kid. And, I didn't get into trouble as a kid, really, I don't think. And I just kind of continued that. And the only reason I share the story about like going around to my classmates was I was like, why did I feel the need to do that?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Well, and that's interesting because you're the youngest. So you would think normally it's like you're used to being taken care of. And then you're actually like going to take care of, quote unquote, your friends and be like, I'm okay. I'm telling you this. I need you guys to know. Or, just like thinking of the other people or worried about what they're feeling.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah. We could probably go deep with like some therapist and talk about that.
I am not qualified.
And then we just kind of like, as a family, we just kind of kept it moving like the best we could. I mean, I had an older sister who was in college. I had an older sister that was about to graduate high school and go to college. And Amanda and I were still home. My next oldest sister and I just remember like we just kind of kept moving along, and my dad eventually remarried to the same woman he's married to still today. And she's been an incredible addition to our family. So I kind of think back, I'm like, wow, I've had like 3 great parents. But again, as somebody who's in recovery now, it's not like I can look back and be like, that was it. That was the moment.
Yeah.
Like that I became alcoholic. Like right. I don't know that I kind of subscribe to that being the reason or not, but I think it's just, it's all part of your life experience. And then, I just kind of kept it going. So I was I played 3 sports all through growing up, and I continued that on all the way through high school. And then I ended up getting a scholarship to play lacrosse at the University of Virginia, which lacrosse in Atlanta is not, it's definitely growing and it's grown so much, but it's not as big here. But up in Northern Virginia, it is a big sport. So that was really my focus. I think you would say like from the outside, it's like everything looked good.
Yeah.
And in some ways it's like, I feel like I did everything right. Like I did everything that I probably thought I was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. And you also like to sing. You're an amazing singer.
Oh God. Well, yeah, I do like to sing.
So were you singing like throughout school and did that start early on for you?
So I really started doing it in high school.
Okay.
And I think we all did chorus, but like I started to, I think I did a high school a cappella group. And I went on to do an a cappella group in college. And I still love to do it still even today. Like anytime I get the opportunity, I'll definitely be singing for sure. But yeah, so then I, went on to college, and where I'm from, it was just kind of, that's what you did. You went to high school and then you went to college and then you got a job. And for me, I definitely caught the stage bug and was like, I'm going to go to New York and be an actress and singer. And so that's what I did. I graduated college and I went up to New York City for acting school. And then I was there for a few years. And should I get into like...
Yeah, I guess I'm assuming you were drinking like in high school, at college and all that, but it was somewhat manageable, I would guess.
Yeah. Like
okay.
I feel like looking back at my experience, like kind of up through what we've just talked about. And I think I, drank for the first time like 14 or 15 and drank way too much. And then the next day I had a massive hangover, but I don't have memories of being like, can't wait to do that again. Yeah. It was just, it was pretty, whatever normal is, it was like, okay, I'm like in lockstep with what everyone else is doing.
Yeah. When did it get to where it was starting to get a little dicey?
I would say at some point while I was living in New York, it started to ramp up for sure. And in the beginning, I was like having a blast. I mean, I was like 22, living in New York City. Yeah, it was just, I don't know, like I had so many big dreams of making it to Hollywood and making it big or whatever. And it was, so I remember that like beginning time being such an exciting and like exhilarating time. And somewhere along the way, it started, I think, to get to a point where I wasn't drinking the way other people were drinking anymore. I think, I was at one point I was living with two friends of mine, and they both had normal jobs. Like one had like a big job at like a big bank, and I just remember they like went to bed at like a normal hour. I mean, there were times when I was like, I was coming home and they were getting up for the day. Yeah. It's just like, oh man, this is. But again, it was just kind of like, well, it's just like New York City.
Yeah, you're young and you're 20.
Yeah. This is like what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And then I eventually moved back home. I remember, this was probably like 2013. I remember feeling like I really missed being home. And I don't know exactly like what I missed, but something all of a sudden kind of, I was like, I need to move back home.
Yeah.
Or to my hometown. So I did. And that's when I started singing a lot more in like a band, and which was also really fun in the beginning. And then it's just, it's late nights and you're not getting paid very much. You're kind of paid in beer or, liquor. And that's when I think 2013, 2014 was when things really started to take a turn for the worse.
I guess, what did that look like? Was there, obviously you're probably over drinking and things like that, but was there a specific moment when you were like, okay, maybe I need to reel it back in, or any of that thought going?
There were so many thoughts like that, but they're like, they come and then they go really fast.
Yeah.
Or they come and they don't have any lingering or lasting or like real effect. No, it was just like, I started, because it's like there's so much more than just the drinking that starts to be concerning. It's like the inability to hold any sort of commitment or be a good employee, or really like, just the honesty piece.
Yeah.
Like just total, the double life, and just so many moments of being like, I've got to stop this, and not being able to.
Yeah.
And really not, but again, it's like, I know so much now. We know so much kind of as we recover, kind of maybe what was going on, or the thinking that dominates us.
Yeah.
But it was just like, it was a thought that came and went. And almost hours later, after I'd maybe said like, I'm going to stop drinking for at least a weekend, or like, I'm going to take a couple weeks off, it was like within hours of the headache or hangover lifting, I was just right back at it again.
Yeah.
With no thought, with no like pause whatsoever. So, and then there kind of that last year and a half, 2 years I was drinking, it was like, it was every day. And I didn't know that until nearing what would be the end. I was like, oh man, I don't think I've gone a day without drinking in a long, long time.
Like for me, I was similar of like, okay, I got to get this under control. But then our minds, the alcoholic mind, is going to tell us something different, even though our experience shows we cannot handle it.
Right.
We cannot control it. There's 1,000 stories that I have that shows I can't drink like a normal drinker.
Yeah.
But like for me, I didn't know it was progressive.
No.
So I was just like, I need to get back to how I was in college.
Right.
And then I'm good.
Then I'm fine.
Yeah.
Wait, did you ever, I remember having this moment where it was like, late into the night, and I remember like staring at myself in the mirror and being like, you will stop this one day. Like, and I'm laughing now, but it was not funny.
Yeah.
So, whenever you're talking to yourself, things are probably not good.
I know.
It was not good.
I know. And I think that's just a misconception, especially for families that are watching. Like, we're not choosing to live this way. We don't want to. It's so awful, and it gets so dark. And I was the same way before experiencing it on my own. I'm like, these people just need to get together. Like, the alcoholic is someone that's, living under a bridge.
Yes. Why always under a bridge?
I don't know.
I thought that is always like in my mind, like what separated me as well. Like, and anyone is like, well, I wasn't like drinking under a bridge.
Yeah.
It's like, well, a lot of people weren't actually.
Most of us.
Right. And in some cases, like, I mean, this just goes to show why I'm so thankful that we're all bound together as we are now, like from this internal condition and not anything external, because our lives all look really different when we get here. I mean, I didn't have any issue like run-ins with the law, but I got lucky.
Yeah, me too.
And I love that part in the book where it kind of references, he had lost everything worthwhile in life. And I love that language because it's whatever's worthwhile to any of us. Like at the point when I got sober, and now I still had my license and whatever. It was like I had lost every meaningful relationship in my life. Like I didn't, and I think I had my dad to call from rehab. And outside of that, it was like, I think I could count on one hand people that might pick up the phone if I called.
Yeah.
And that's alarming. As somebody who grew up like with friends, and that's the other thing is like I grew up like the happy kid. I mean, my dad still jokes. He's like, "Oh yeah, like never worry about Molly making friends." And so it's like I'd never, I don't think experienced like loneliness the way I did kind of towards the end of my drinking and then at the very beginning of my sobriety, both because for both instances, just because I had lost everything worthwhile to me. And that was like any sort of real relationship with my family and friends, like people I really cared about.
Mm-hmm. I know. I was the same way, like very social, want to hang out with friends. And then towards the end there, I'm like hanging out with people that aren't my friend because
They're not your friends today.
Yeah, And I'm like, because my real friends would know, like, Sarah's not okay. And so I'm like,
it's like actually scary.
Yeah. And so, okay, so you made it to treatment, thank God.
Thank God.
And was that something you were just like willing to do on your own, or was there anyone helping you along the way, or you off?
Oh yes. So I had for I think a 72-hour period had moved back to New York because I was like, I just need to relocate to leave this mess that I've created behind, and I'm going to start anew back somewhere where I know I have some friends. And I went to go stay with actually a very good friend of mine, who's actually in recovery now, in long-term recovery now, which is just amazing and such a cool full circle moment. But anyway, so I moved up there thinking like things were going to be better, and man, it was like the worst it ever got. And I woke up on a Sunday morning. Well, no, I woke up on Sunday at like 2 p.m. after a night out, and I saw in Mount Sinai Hospital, and I saw my parents talking to my friend, and it's all such a blur, but that's what I remember. And then I remember we drove back in a rental car back to DC from New York, and I slept the whole way. I think I slept like the next 3 days, and our family doctor recommended, but I remember like I didn't know terms like IOP or inpatient or whatever, but I remember my dad saying the words inpatient, and I was like, no, like I'm fine. Everything's fine. So it was on a Wednesday morning. I remember January 13th, 2016 was a Wednesday morning. And my parents drove me to Reading, Pennsylvania and dropped me off. And they take your phone. I mean, so it's like, and then I remember sitting in this room and I watched my parents drive off and I was so scared, but so relieved in a way. Cause I was like, oh my God, I don't have to not like do this. Like I definitely didn't go there thinking I was going to stop drinking forever, but I was like, I don't have to continue anymore what I was doing. And I think I was only supposed to go for 30 days and I ended up staying for 5 months. And man, thank God. I mean, it's like the most amazing experience that I never want to have again.
Yeah.
Is going to inpatient where I did and getting the help I needed. And just thank God they instilled an understanding of the 12 steps, like how important it was for when you left there to go get plugged in and find someone to take you through.
Yeah. So how did you end up in Georgia?
I was obsessed with going back. I was like, I need to be back in New York. Like for the first, I mean, I don't even know how long, but it was just like, and my counselor there was like, okay, yeah, like we can definitely set you up in New York and like a sober living and get you plugged in. And then she said, or they talked about something interesting, which was like this idea of like new people, places, and things. And again, all of this was new. I had never really tried to get sober, or I didn't go to meetings. My first experience with AA was like in rehab. So this was all new, but I remember just being like, I'm not going to any new city. Like I'm going to but I felt like I knew I couldn't go home. Like the life that was there for me at home, I was like, there's just no way I can go back to it. So I was like, New York. And then somewhere along the line, there were like, it came down to two options. I was like, okay, I can't go back to New York. And it was between St. Paul, Minnesota and Atlanta, Georgia. And I don't even know why. I think that I remember them saying that there are great recovery communities in both areas. And I remember being like, God, like which one? And then my stepmom, thank God, was like, well, you hate the cold. And I was like, okay, perfect. Atlanta. Yes. And one of my sisters was living here at the time.
Oh, okay.
She's since moved away, but she was here for work. And so I flew from treatment, escorted to the plane. And then there were people there from my sober living there to pick me up at the airport. I was in sober living for 6 months. So by the time I was kind of out of that treatment setting, I had almost a year sober.
And you were working a program at that point.
Yes. So I went, I moved here without a car and without friends. So I've really had nothing to do but bum rides to the clubhouse. And did you go to meetings? So I was like going to 3 a day. Yeah. It's like, man, I just have nothing better to do. And it was a Saturday morning. I went to this 10 a.m. big book study. And I remember the woman leading it was just, well, first of all, she was hilarious and really almost like very intimidating. Like she knew the book so well. I was like, oh my God, like she looks like a celeb, and everyone knew her name. And I was just like, wow. But something in me, thank God, at the end of the meeting was like, will you be my sponsor? Yeah. And she was like, are you an alcoholic? And I was like, yes, ma'am. And she's like, are you willing to do anything? Are you willing to go to any lengths to overcome alcoholism? And I was like, yes, ma'am. And she was like, all right. And then she gave me this like list of kind of things to do every day that like, call her every day and, get to meetings early and just some other things like sit in the front row and bring your book, all this stuff. And I didn't understand really why I was doing any of it or how any of what she was suggesting had anything to do with my not drinking, but something in me, I was just like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of where it all started.
I don't know. Yeah. Because everyone has their own experience, and it's kind of cool that like your first experience with everything, you just got to like go into it. Cause there's other people that have experience with like going to places and it was awful and they relapse and this and that. And so for you to just like dive in, but that also shows that like you were in that true surrendered moment. Like we have to have that in order to move through the process, because like something else I was going to ask you is like, as far as like, things that people get really tripped up on are like inventory and amends and like helping other women or helping other alcoholics because it can be inconvenient or annoying or, or wonderful. But
all those things.
Yes, all those things. And so clearly you had just, had your surrendered moment of like, I can't live this way anymore. And thank God that you had people in your life that actually not only like working a program, living the solution. And I'm assuming this woman was like an example of like, I want to be like her.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I went to pick up my tenure chip at that same big book study over the weekend, and she's still like the same. I mean, she's got probably like 800 sponsees, right? I mean, she's just, and that was, and I really attribute it. So I attribute so much to her because from the beginning, it was like, you don't know how to be honest. You don't know how to do what you say you're going to do. And you don't know, and I didn't. Like, I had no, you don't have any practice in calling somebody and telling you what's going on with you. And just this, like, it was all about getting me, of course, to, linked up with God. And then that whole thing really happened for me in the amends process. And ultimately the amends I got to make, that were really difficult. That's the time where God's real, where you're like, okay, like I felt like I was going to die and I didn't die and everything's, we came out of it and I'm okay. But just this importance from the very beginning about this is all about carrying the message to other women. Mm-hmm. And that I didn't question either, not because I was like, it more was just like, okay, I'll do it when I get there. And then I was there and then I had someone ask, like, will you be my sponsor? And I was like, let me check. Like, call up, be like, wait, am I ready? And she was just, and she said something so perfect. It was like, God will only put someone in your path when you're ready. And I'm so and thankfully, I mean, there are so many people that need help. It's like, they're all out there.
Yes, for sure. I know. And that was something for me that was instilled into me, like, hey, you need to go help other women. And I'm like, yeah, that all sounds nice, but like, I need help. Don't you see my life? Like, hello, it's on fire.
Yes.
And so unfortunately I did not follow as you did. But I got drunk again, like that's just it for me. It's so black and white. And it's, I'm sure you see this with women you work with or just around, but like the resistance. And it's like, this is life and death, and
like literally.
And you're not going to like get out a notebook and write out some stuff, what you're mad about.
Why is it so, like, no, because I get it. Because I had those moments like where it's, or, especially when you get a little bit of like sobriety time under your belt, you're like, is it like, it wasn't like that bad? Or, those thoughts come.
Yes.
And I just, and we've talked about this, but it's like, I can only, thank God we have such a great fellowship around it. Cause it's like, you get plugged in, you start to actually like make friends and these are like my friends.
Yeah.
These are our people that know us the most. And, you just find yourself, you're like, oh, I'm just involved. And, I don't know. I feel like it would be so much hard. I'm like, if I had gone back to where I'm from,
mm-hmm.
would I have been successful? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point earlier, like, thank God you got it. It's like, if I had tried to get sober any earlier before like going to rehab, I'm confident that I would have like 50 white chips.
Yeah.
I just not ever really tried.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, I got really, really lucky with, I mean, we're really lucky.
Yeah.
And I look around at our home group and I'm just like, look at all these home group members. I mean, it's like long-term sobriety.
Yeah. It is amazing.
Yeah.
And that's like when I lived in Birmingham and I'm like coming back into town here and I'm like, I would come back and like try to go to the meeting or whatever. And that is not Sarah. Like, that's not the old Sarah, because I don't know if you had this experience, but like, I really thought it was going to be awful and it was going to be a boring life. And like, all these people are weird. And like, I don't fit in.
And like, in my mind also, like, that they were all old and like sad.
Yeah. Right.
Well, now it's like any TV show or movie you watch now, when they have AA and those, like, it looks so depressing.
I know.
Like, oh my God, like, I wouldn't want to try out AA if that was my only like exposure to it. I'm like, thank God it's not.
Well, I know. And that's the thing. It's like, I say that all the time, because it's just like the small little circle. Everyone's crying. And I'm like, you're telling me I need to go there? Like, absolutely.
I was someone standing up at the front talking to this sad circle. I'm like, I don't want to do that.
That looks awful. Yeah. And so luckily, that's not how life is at all.
No.
I guess like with your life today, like, could you have thought that it would be this way and you're actually quote unquote sober, because it's so much more than that? But did you think you could live a life without any sort of substances?
No. I mean, I didn't even imagine it.
Yeah.
And that the part in the book where it talks about like could no longer imagine life with or without alcohol. I mean, that's one of the scariest places to be, when you honestly find yourself like unable to imagine life under any circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I feel like such like a big book, so I'm probably just keep throwing up book quotes, but it's like, where does it say like your imagination will be fired? It's like, if I had kind of written out what I wanted my life to look like in the beginning, it would have just paled in comparison to the life I have today. And it's like, again, it comes back to those like relationships. Like, I'm married to someone also in recovery, but who is just the most wonderful human and just perfect for me. Like, I would not have been able to imagine him. I would not have been able to imagine having friendships like this, because I couldn't participate in them. And it wasn't, I have amazing friends from high school and college that have, kind of stood by me through all this and just are amazing, but they were always great.
Yeah.
I was the problem. So to like, again, just have friendships and people in your life and like a relationship with God, that was never a thought or on the table, I thought, just because I was just kind of like, God's seen everything I've been doing, and I don't want to have a relationship with him because I don't want to own up to all the stuff I've been up to, So no, I couldn't have imagined it was going to be what it is today. And in Atlanta, Georgia, like, it's so random, but it's not.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
I know. It's so amazing. Like, just looking back, for me, like, seeing how everything aligned to be able to meet you and the group that we're in, like, because my family, you were talking about this earlier, how y'all went to like your primary care doctor or something. My family did the same thing. But it's who you are, right? Exactly. And so that's why with families, it's so hard, because you don't know what to do. And then you get on Google and it's like so overwhelming.
There's so much.
Yeah.
There.
And so it's just like, I'm like laughing, but it's sad that our like parents are like going to our, doctors that give us a physical and they're like,
what's happening?
Yeah.
What is this?
Right. And, they sometimes know, sometimes don't. Like, you're so lucky that you got a good referral from that or like place they said. But I mean, man, like our family didn't experience this before. So it's just hard to navigate. And one of our friends, she went to high school with me, was a year older, and she was like vocal about her sobriety on social media. And my younger sister, reached out to her and was like, my sister needs help. Like,
wait,
and so, yeah. And then
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. And so she got me to where I went. And then when I got out, before she moved to Texas, was trying to help me. And
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? Oh, okay.
Yes. And then that's how I got introduced to Lindsay. And so it's just like crazy how it all went down, but like all God orchestrated it, because I wouldn't have ever probably stepped foot into that meeting or anything like that. And I was just, and like, I don't know, kind of your experience with the woman at the meeting. Like when I met Lindsay, I was just like, oh my gosh, she is like so happy and like laughing and free. And she was telling me about like a time when she was like, yeah, like, and ultimately, and now I realize she was like talking about the bedevilments. I'm 52. And she was like, full of fear. Like I wasn't of help to anybody else. And I remember in my head being like, she's a saint. She's talking about being helpful to other people.
I know.
Like this is a foreign concept.
No, it is. It's never even entered my brain.
Right.
I'm like, but like, what about me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I don't know. It's just like really, really neat to see how it all plays out. And to talk briefly on like your life today and with work and things like that. Like, obviously you go to a lot of social events and there's drinking. And I think this is a huge misconception, especially for families, and rightfully so, because it's really scary. But like you're around alcohol all the time.
Yeah.
And is that a difficult thing for you to be at parties with alcohol?
No.
Yeah.
But it was in the beginning not difficult, but I was afraid of it being difficult.
Yeah.
And I was afraid of being open about it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think we're living in a time where it's people are becoming so much more aware of it. And we know everybody's affected or knows someone who is affected by this.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of directly or indirectly. And so it's a little bit of a different time, and it's an amazing time, just people being more open about it. But in the beginning, I didn't want to tell anybody, and I don't even know why. I think I was like, I don't want to like not be invited to things. I don't want to feel like I'm missing out on like good opportunities. And like, I don't even know what that means as I'm saying it, but it's like,
no, I didn't want to make people feel uncomfortable.
Right.
And it's like, I'm the one that's uncomfortable. They don't care if I'm drinking. They're actually thrilled that I am not drinking.
And I was like, do you ever find yourself being like, no, drink, like get wasted. Like, it was not like, what? But it's like, what I'm doing doesn't need to affect anybody else. But no, and like, thank God, like that hot stove. I mean, it's the most perfect analogy. And I remember having an experience actually at a work event where I was getting ready to sing, and I reached for my water glass, and I pulled it up, and as it even just got even a little bit close to my face, I smelled it was wine, so I picked up the wrong one. But it was like a knee jerk, and I was like, oh my God, that was like a hot stove moment.
Yeah,
like and it recoiled from it as from a hot flame, and it happened automatically. And I didn't even...
I've had the same experience. It's crazy.
Right. But no, it's today, I mean, everybody, I'm super open about it. I mean, I like your sister's friend who at the time was open about it on social media. I try to be open about being in recovery just in case. Like, what if, I mean, I have no idea who it could help, but maybe somebody sees it and is like, hey, my so-and-so is struggling. Like, and I'm like, I know so many great people in the treatment field, and, we can get you the right resources. Because that's what it is. It's like, how do you find the right resources?
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I'm just so happy to be here. I'm so happy Lindsay canceled for today, so I can be here. But no, seriously, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we got to sit down and chat. This is awesome.
Yes. It was amazing. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yes. And thank you for tuning in to another episode. I hope today's conversation has inspired you, opened your mind, maybe even your heart. But remember, you're not alone. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone who needs to see it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll have all the links below. But until next time, keep making an impact. Bye, y'all.